I have been dating my girlfriend for years. We have had many disagreements where she refuses to acknowledge my viewpoint. She not only tries to change my mind, but sometimes it feels like she punishes me for not admitting she was right. One argument that comes up a lot is when she talks about how she hates all men and can't trust men. I have tried many tactics, but nothing works. I asked her out of curiosity why she feels this way, but her answers anger me, and I take it personally because she is talking about me. I am a man. I have tried changing the subject, ignoring it, and telling her what I think she wants to hear. It always ends the same way. She is angry and distant for a few days. This last time came to a head when I asked if she had inadvertently punished me because of these views, which I believe she has. She wanted definitive proof, which I did not have. It was like, "Oh, I hurt your feelings. Name 5 albums," which I couldn't do off the top of my head. I don't keep a mental list every time she hurts me. Recently, my friend, who has more dating experience than I do, advised me to think one way and communicate differently because women don't want to hear what you think. I wonder if this is true. If it is, then I can't help but think that women are the problem with the gender divide. I have tried many things, but it's always me who is the problem. The crazy thing is, she is not crazy. She is pragmatic and logical most of the time, but she refuses to acknowledge that her viewpoint could be hurting our relationship. She literally says point blank, "I can't trust any man." I say, "You know I'm a man, right?" She responds, "Don't tell me how to think. My intuition has protected me from violence in the past." She always says I'm not like other men, but then she says things like this. It feels like she is waiting for me to hurt her so she can prove herself right. I would never do that. I love her and want to resolve things, but every time we have this argument, I feel more resigned to giving up. Ironically, that would prove her right by breaking up with her and hurting her that way. I just don't understand. I am at my wit's end. How do you handle hearing that no man can be trusted by your partner? Story 1. I would not marry a woman like that. Trust is a fundamental and necessary part of a healthy marriage, regardless of any prejudice. Story 2. I'll give you a more even-keeled response because I don't see many. I'm one of the good ones too. It's a vibe I give off, I guess, because I've always ended up with girls who hate all men except me. It can feel like a giant compliment, but it's more important to realize that it reflects a strong defensiveness that you two will always be subjected to, and which usually escalates throughout life and the relationship. The more comfortable they feel, the more they instinctively raise their walls rather than the other way around. This woman is hurt, original poster, and her protective ego defenses kick in instinctively in moments of argument or discord, which is why you can't reason with her during those times. If she's anything like the half-dozen girls I've dated who have the same issue, she'll find herself getting comfortable with you, then fearful of her own comfort because it makes her vulnerable. She will then shut you out temporarily as a reaction, then feel more comfortable once she knows she's on guard again, cycling through that pattern repeatedly. You should find a calm moment, far removed from any argument, and have a talk with her about your concerns and feelings. Let how she receives you dictate how you proceed with the relationship. If she cares, if she's the kind of person you can build a life with, she'll seek help and try to better herself to meet you in a loving, safe place. If she bites, growls, mocks, and diminishes you, she's showing herself to be someone who will never be able to fully exist in a comfortable and respectful relationship with you. Whatever you do, don't take your friend's advice. You want and need an open and honest relationship, not one built on deceit, dishonesty, hiding yourself, and manipulating her. Story 3. I've never posted this, but if you have to write a 5-page thesis to Reddit for confirmation that you're right and she is wrong, just move on. No one here will convince you, though. You'll think everyone doesn't see what you see, or at the very least sees you as just mean internet people. It's the smell bad rule. If it smells bad, it's bad. Don't go across the entire kitchen looking for every chef's affirmation that it is in fact bad. If it smells fishy, lemon juice, love, or being tactical won't fix anything. Good luck. I wish you happiness with whatever decision you make. Story 4. If any woman I was in a relationship with said this kind of thing, I would break it off. Setting aside the burning misandry for a moment, if she can't trust me, then there's no relationship to have. I used to put up with this behavior when I was around 20, but I know my worth now and I am not obligated to tolerate this. I would rather be alone than in a relationship with someone who doesn't trust me and can't be trusted in turn. Also, she always says, I'm not like the other guys. Major red flag. Comments like, you're one of the good ones, should be met with, and I'm a credit to my race too, right? Story 5. My wife would never say something so absolutely idiotic to me or anyone else. Making a statement like all men cannot be trusted is no different than saying all women are stupid, or all black people are criminals, or all gay people are perverts. Prejudice is a massive red flag, no matter if it is sexism, racism, or homophobia. If I were you, I would think long and hard about whether you want to be in a relationship with someone who has told you multiple times that she hates you and does not trust you. Story 6. This is the type of situation where she needs a serious conversation that is not held in the heat of the moment. Something like, please don't say anything until I'm finished. When you say men can't be trusted, I hear that you don't trust me. You haven't told me why you feel this way, and I'm sure whatever caused it must be serious. But I can't help but wonder what that means for our future. I'm not trying to control you or tell you how to think, but your actions have consequences. If you're truly not happy in this relationship, I love you, and you either need to talk to a professional to address it or decide that you're better off in a relationship with someone you do trust or alone. I don't know what it is that you want. I'm going to go out for a while to let you process this, and we can talk about it when I come back. Honestly, this likely isn't going to end well, but if she doesn't wake up, it's better to remove the bandage sooner rather than later. Story 7. Count your blessings. She is showing you how she is now. Imagine marrying her one day and having children. No, it does not get better. Story 8. Yes, please stay away from her. She is very toxic. I would not be with someone like that. My wife would never say anything like that. She likes men. I could not be with someone who does not genuinely like men. Story 9. Going back and forth with a woman who does not trust men is a losing game. Pack your belongings and leave. Story 10. If I were dating a woman like that, it would be the end of the relationship. If I were married to a woman who said that, I would have a very deep conversation about how harmful that sentiment is. It goes beyond personal protection into dehumanizing bigotry. If she doubled down, then that would be the end of the marriage. I cannot be in a relationship with someone who thinks that way, and I especially cannot raise children with someone who thinks that way. Story 11. How do all the men out there handle hearing their spouse tell them, no man can be trusted? By not marrying them ideally, or divorcing them if necessary. That bond is broken before it is made. I, male, have been dating my girlfriend for years. I've had many disagreements with her where she refuses to acknowledge my viewpoint and not only tries to change my mind, but sometimes it feels like she punishes me for not admitting that she was right. So you are dating a misandrist narcissist. Run. Get off Reddit right now and focus on escaping. One argument that comes up a lot is when she starts talking about how she hates all men and can't trust men. How convenient for her, a built-in excuse to always make you lesser while making you responsible for her feelings. She's a sexist narcissist. Leave before she hurts you. I've tried every tactic I could think of, but nothing works. Try leaving and going no contact. It won't change her mind, but it will change yours and your life for the better. Promise. I've tried to ask her from curiosity why, but her answers anger me and I can't help but take it personally because she's literally talking about me. I'm a man. Upsetting you is the point. It lets her pretend she is the mature adult in the room while hogging all your time and attention. It is a power move designed to control you. The only way to defend yourself is to go gray rock, break up, and leave, then maintain no contact. I've tried to change the subject, ignore it, and tell her what I think she wants to hear. It always ends the same, her pissed off and distant for a few days. That was always her goal. This last time came to a head when I asked her if she's ever thought she has inadvertently punished me because of these views, which I believe she has. She wanted definitive proof, which I didn't have. Oh no, you made her feel ashamed of her choices only for her to choose to abuse you more? Narcissist. She is a narcissist. I'm not just taking a log of every time she's hurt me. Seriously, you should start. Not to make it a misery measuring contest, but to show yourself how much, how often, and how deeply she has hurt you. By the time I could leave my narcissist ex, I had over 100 pages of detailed notes. They saved my life. Those notes are why I am still above ground. Recently, my buddy, who has way more dating experience than me, told me to think one way and talk to her in a different way because women honestly just don't want to hear what you think. Women like the one you are dating don't, but good women, they want nothing more than honesty and respect. Your buddy and your girlfriend would make a good pair. I'm wondering if this is true, not for most women or any woman of quality. Because if it is, then I really can't help but think that women are the problem with this whole gender divide thing. That's part of the reason why it isn't true. It hides most of the story instead of revealing it. I have honestly tried so many different things, but it's always me that's the problem. The crazy thing is, she is not crazy. My girlfriend is very pragmatic and logical most of the time, but she just refuses to acknowledge that this viewpoint could be hurting our relationship. It doesn't matter if she is crazy or not. She is abusing you and you deserve better. That is all that matters. Because she literally says point blank, I can't trust any man. To which I say, you know I'm a man, right? Then she twists it on me like, don't tell me how to think. My intuition has protected me from violence in the past. First of all, you didn't tell her how to think. She is lying, manipulating, and abusing you. If you leave, nothing of value will be lost to you, just a whole lot of pain you do not deserve. She always says I'm not like the other guys. Literally every abusive bigot says this. You're not like other black people, women, men, disabled people, Muslims, etc. It is another manipulative lie, placing you on a pedestal that you will inevitably fall from, which gives them more blame to use on you. But then she says things like this, and it feels like she's literally waiting for me to hurt her so she can prove herself right. You know this woman does not love you. This is not love. This is paranoia and malice. Which I would never do, obviously. Frankly, you should hurt her by leaving and going no contact. It is literally the path of least pain you can take. I love her, and you are the only one loving in your relationship. I want to resolve things. You can. By leaving. In fact, you must. But honestly, every time we have this argument, I feel more and more resigned to giving up. That is your heart telling you what your brain does not want to accept. You should accept it anyway. Your only options are an eternity of suffering with her or brief suffering by breaking up. And ironically proving her right by breaking up with her and hurting her in that way. I just don't get it. I'm at my wit's end, honestly. She's not right. She's just a coward. She is making you play her game by her rules. But her rules are set up to infest you with all of the shame she carries but refuses to process. That is what a covert or vulnerable narcissist is. The only way you can win her abusive little game is by no longer caring about her and relearning to care about yourself. You do not deserve this abuse. You spent years proving her wrong. She is wrong. We all know it. Convincing her that she is wrong was never on the table. The only thing that was on the table, the only thing she truly wants, is to break you into a shape she can control. That is not love, and you are clearly capable of love. She wouldn't leech off your heart if you were not. How do you all handle hearing that no man can be trusted by your partner? Refuse to give her the trust, time, attention, affection, and love that she never earned. Then find a woman who will earn it. Yes, it is hard, but unlike your relationship, the struggle is actually worth doing. I'm sorry. I was in your shoes for 7.5 years. If you need support, reach out. I hope you break free. Story 12. Red flag and probably think she is projecting. No, I do not want to enter relationships thinking, I can fix her. She should address her own trust issues herself with therapy and self-effort, instead of playing victim and thinking it is a man's job to fix it for her. I understand she may have been hurt by a man or men in the past, but that is her journey of healing. It is not my or any other man's responsibility to fix it. If she tells me she does not really trust me, I will take that as another red flag. Partners with unresolved trust issues tend to become controlling, manipulative, and emotionally abusive. So no, thank you. I do not want to be with a woman who demands I no longer have female friends or speak to my female friends when I am with her. For example, I work mostly with women and do not want her to get angry with me just because of that. I do not understand why some people, including some men, think trust issues are a good thing. They are not. Story 13. Would you date a racist who discriminates against your race and punishes you for their own delusions and ignorance? Then why tolerate misandry from a woman? Hate is hate, and you do not deserve or need it in your life. You would likely feel much more fulfilled and happy in life without this woman, even if that means being single. Do not let this woman tear you down and hate you. She should protect herself by being alone if that is how she feels, instead of harming your life and taking advantage of your kindness. Story 14. You are in a difficult situation, my friend. Nothing you can say or do allows you to both maintain your dignity and avoid hurting her feelings. Tell her how that makes you feel. Do not make it an accusation. Tell her you love her and want to feel trusted and loved. She will tell you whether she is willing to do what it takes to get you there. Story 15. If a man's intuition says to avoid people who will not hold themselves accountable for hurting their partner because they just want to be right, what is the next step? Arguing whether intuition is good or bad based on gender. She sounds like someone who cannot handle being wrong, and to her, she never is, at least on this topic. You mentioned she is not like this all the time and you have fun, but this behavior is a crucial part of any relationship. You do you, but I would not be able to date someone who shuts me down when I raise a concern. I do not need to be right, but her refusal to consider being wrong is an issue. To answer the question, if she does not listen to logic and is adamant on indirectly hurting me, then blaming me even, I would choose my mental health over a relationship without a real future. Temporary joy will not outweigh core issues. Story 16. Break up with her. Why would you date someone who does not trust you? You are not going to talk her out of her view. Story 17. Yes, you are literally a man. Why would she be with you if she does not trust you? I imagine that people you cannot or do not trust would be the last people you would want to be intimate with. Story 18. Do you really want a woman like that raising your sons one day? She is a full-blown misandrist. She is not gay, so she has to let one man in. Lucky you, right? She is a mistake and you know it. Story 19. My friend is also like that but has the capacity to understand that I don't like it when she speaks like that. She knows it makes me feel bad because I am a man too, so she does her best not to say it and has apologized to me when it slips out. That is an appropriate response. I am telling you right now, if your partner does not ever apologize to you for speaking in this manner about men around you, after you have communicated many times how it makes you feel, then you need to do what relationship experts always suggest when there is even a minor red flag. Break up with her. If you marry her, you will hear about it again, and she will blame you for being a man. Leave her and do not attempt to fix her. Story 20. Do not engage with it. Generalizations are not always true because there will always be statistical outliers. When someone is speaking from a place of emotion instead of logic, there is no way to force them to accept things from your point of view. Edit changed wording of last sentence because it bothered me the way I put it originally. Story 21. Just remember that everything she says to you that is hurtful, she will probably say to a son you might have with her. That kind of behavior can harm a child. That is your decision, though. Story 22. It feels like she punishes me for not admitting that she was right. Sounds like what she actually wants is for you to shut down the fake fights she is starting and gets upset when you give in. I've tried every tactic. Even just going okay, and then occupying yourself with something that makes more sense than dealing with unhinged nonsense, like packing, going to the gym, putting in some headphones, and doing whatever project you have going on in the house. Statements like that are so stupid they are not worth engaging with. I really think just acting like it is her just farting, kind of embarrassing but not worth arguing about, is the maximum courtesy you need to show. You do not owe her a serious discussion about this. It feels like she's literally waiting for me to hurt her so she can prove herself right. Yeah, because she is not logical, she is a mess like most people, and her brain can't deal with the fact that you might be different. Her anxiety tells her to constantly test you to make sure you really are not like the other guys, but you getting into these discussions and getting irritated by empty word shells that could have just been copied from a random social media drama feels like her intuition is onto something. That part of her is a raging teenager screaming, "It's not a phase, Mom." Treat it like the childish rant it is. You still love that person, but that doesn't mean you can't laugh at the stupid stuff she does from time to time. Don't fuel it by seriously engaging. Don't let yourself be guilt-tripped into proving to her that you are different. You already know you are, and it is her job to put on the big girl pants and figure that out without you serving it to her on a silver plate again and again. If that sounds like too much work because you are tired of the tests, that is understandable, but they usually don't stop. Story 23. One argument that comes up frequently is when she begins talking about how she hates all men and cannot trust men. She hates you and does not trust you. She has issues and is not ready to be in a relationship. Story 24. She would not be my spouse then, that is for certain. I do not know when or how, but women took crime dramas way too seriously. Story 25. Geez, brother. Sounds toxic. Maturity includes sharing opinions in a conversation where they are discussed respectfully and without attempts to twist them. Step back and honestly ask yourself, what do you want here? People show their true colors, and you decide if this is the headache you want moving forward. Story 26. It sounds like your friend and your girlfriend would make a toxic couple. I would suggest mentioning that her feelings towards all men in general seem unhealthy and unfair. Sweeping generalizations are never a good way to talk about a group, no matter how socially acceptable that belief may be. Story 27. She is being toxic and needs to be called out in a rational manner. It is an irrational point, and she will act accordingly. Let her rant. Remind her she just said you cannot be trusted, and then go make a coffee. Story 28. In response to what your friend said, if you think one way and speak another way, there is no room for you to be yourself in your relationship. That sounds lonely. This is not to say that we should not be conscious of how we communicate, but there still has to be room to express our needs. For me, it would really bother me if my wife generalized all men and got mad at me for not thinking the same. If she stopped talking to me for a few days, that would also bother me. Be yourself, but this does not sound like a healthy way to handle conflict on her part. Story 29. You are dating a child in an adult body. I would leave if I were you. It is probably only a matter of time before she takes some vindictive revenge against you. Story 30. The fact that those words come out of her mouth means she believes them, and her relationships with men are unhealthy. That includes the one with you. Run, dude. That belief of hers will destroy any healthy relationship with a man. When a man or a woman holds that belief, they are the problem. Both men and women can have that belief. All women are trash and all men are trash are two sides of the same coin. It is valid to say a man hurt me, but not okay to say all men hurt women or guys can't be trusted. You are dating a bigot. It is time to run. Story 31. My former spouse was difficult. I made many efforts for her. She is now single and dating around Omaha as far as I know. Story 32. The trick I have used is to stop defining myself as a man. She is not putting me in the category of all men, so why am I putting myself in that category? Clearly, she does not mean all men because I am excluded, and many others are as well. If I am trying to understand what she is saying without getting angry, I have to let her finish and understand she does not mean me. Of the men she is speaking about, she is somewhat right. Those men are not trustworthy, and I have no problem admitting that. It also helps that we can speak about how both genders have flaws without implicating each other and instead use it as something to bond over. Just stop pretending like whatever group you happen to fall into must be defended at all costs. It is not that serious. Story 33. That sounds extremely frustrating. She is one of those girls who absolutely hates men all the time for no apparent reason. If I were in your shoes, I would have a serious conversation with her next time about how it makes you feel when she says things like that and set boundaries. However, if she continues saying such things even after discussing it with her, you might want to consider ending the relationship. At this point, she is just starting arguments without reason and making you seem like the bad person when you defend yourself. Situations like this add up and can take a significant toll on your mental health over time. Story 34. Do not date women who hate men. Do not date men who hate women. Nothing is going to change. If she hates men, it does not mean she hates you. Story 35. A woman who complains about men in general is not going to get much attention from me. Story 36. Good thing you are not married to this woman. She is revealing her true self. If a woman seems like she hates men even jokingly, then she does hate men. If she claims that she is crazy, then she is crazy. If she jokes about being a little promiscuous, then she is promiscuous. Tread carefully, brother. Story 37. I say, "Get out of my house." She cries. I repeat myself. She refuses, and I have her removed by the police. I don't need that kind of trouble in my life. I can make myself sad all by myself and a lot cheaper. Story 38. Tell her to leave because I don't want someone who cannot trust me in my house. Honestly, there is zero chance I would tolerate or want to spend another moment with a woman like that. My wife has a good friend who was hurt badly by men in her life and developed some resentment toward them. I called her out and explained that women can be just as bad and capable of bad behavior. She picked bad men, which is unfortunate, but it is not true of all men. She was quiet and told me I was right. We get along well, and she thinks I am an amazing person. So if you have a decent woman, you can call her out on that kind of behavior and she will stop. Story 39. Is it possible that she really means, I cannot just automatically trust any man? Because honestly, same as a man. Story 40. Call it what it is. She has been scared or convinced to be a bigot against men. She may not see it as harmful, but it is clearly harming your relationship and her ability to relate normally with men in general. She needs to understand that saying all men cannot be trusted is the same as saying all women are hysterical and cannot think straight. If her previous experiences have led her to be biased against men, this is something she needs to work on through therapy or otherwise. Otherwise, she is choosing to be a bigot. Story 41. She starts talking about how she hates all men. She is telling you she hates you. Why on earth are you with her still? It always ends the same. She is angry and distant for a few days. Serious question. Is this how you want to spend the rest of your life? Story 42. Married 15 years. Been together for 16. I have never heard my wife, or any woman I know for that matter, say anything like that. Story 43. If a girl told me that all men cannot be trusted, she would be single very quickly. It sounds like she should date a woman, where she can find someone who behaves maturely. Story 44. You say you do not have much dating experience. I am using that line to emphasize that you do not know what a healthy relationship is like because this is not one. Story 45. In response to your question about whether that person is still single, for his comment that is now deleted, I agree with him 100%, and I am happily married because what you described is not normal. Story 46. Anybody else see the irony in my girlfriend says she doesn't trust men, and my friend told me that you need to lie to women because they won't like what you think, followed by the original poster claiming that women must be, if that's true, the cause of the gender divide? Dude, you're in a bad relationship with a bad person. Don't let this experience make you generalize women as a whole. Don't stay in this relationship long enough for you to become a villain too. And don't listen to that friend's advice about relationships. Story 47. My spouse does not say things like that, and I would not be with her if she did. Your girlfriend is not a good person. Story 48. You need to distance yourself from her. This is an issue she must resolve on her own. She is revealing her true feelings. She harbors negative feelings toward all men, and you are a man. It is best to leave the situation. Story 49. I would not date someone like that. All men, all this and that. It is an overgeneralized trope. So, does she fear you? Your masculine traits? Story 50. Just wait until you get her to admit the cognitive dissonance of trusting you but not trusting men. Then she will blame men for that too, but not you. Story 51. She just refuses to acknowledge my viewpoint. She punishes me. Argument that comes up a lot. She hates all men. I cannot trust any man. Why are you punishing yourself? Leave this woman. Some people just do not belong together. Is it the sex? No sexual encounter is worth this. Story 52. The way I would handle it, given your story, is to end things immediately. I say this as someone who has been in similar situations. Brother, have some self-respect and leave. Really think about where you are right now. You have had disagreements and arguments about her lack of trust in men. She does not even hint that she sees your side. Either way, she is distant and upset as usual. She has you asking friends and random people for advice on how to handle a disrespectful comment like that. And you might be considering now that all women are the problem after talking with a friend who has a lot of dating experience. I am not a smart guy by any means, but isn't that ironic? And weirdly enough, I think she is turning you into the very thing you do not want to be. Also, a serious question, no hate. Does your friend just date? Is he ever in an official relationship? Very questionable advice at best. I personally think the reason she says, "You're not like the rest of them," is because her past significant others saw what she was like and left, but you chose to stick around. You can see it as a good thing, but given your situation, I would not feel special. The relationship seems like it has been over for a while. I get why you care, since she is your girlfriend, but she does not care about you as much as you care about her. If she is unwilling to listen and respect you, to consider that maybe she has problems with trust in men and does not seek counseling or help, then it is time to ironically prove her right. It might hurt you and may hurt her, but you can still care if she is all right. It is up to her to find out that she is also the problem in the relationship. The only other thing you have proven to me is that you are the problem, but only to yourself. It is time to think about your satisfaction and actually trust and consider your feelings. All things considered, I am wishing you the best. Story 53. How do you all handle hearing that no man can be trusted by your girlfriend? I would never date a woman who said that. Neither should you. Being married for years, I can tell you for a fact that a relationship requires trust. It requires the willingness to interpret confusing or hurtful situations in the best light. It requires a willingness to operate in good faith. She is 0 for 3. A relationship is predicated on emotional intimacy. Intimacy is a familiarity and partnership founded on mutual comprehensive knowledge and acceptance of the other. It is a connection that by its nature affords each person in the partnership the consistent experience of physical, psychological, and emotional safety. She is promising you to your face that you will not have the consistent experience of being accepted, known, and safe. This is a non-starter. Let me tell you the truth. Being one of the good ones never works out the way they say it will. I've been one of the good ones in some capacity all of my life. It is the sword of Damocles waiting for something to cut the tie that binds, their overt approval of the last thing you did, and bring the blade down on your head. If you continue to be in a relationship with her, you are ruining your life. That is your choice to make, but that is a choice against the collective wisdom of everyone who knows better. You will not be a victim, you will be a fool. Story 54. By not marrying girls like that in the first place or leaving them and being with someone who is not like that. Story 55. It is white noise. This hatred of men is so common that I am just used to it. Others are filled with self-hatred as a result and agree with it. I have been treated unfairly more than a few times by women and men too, not romantically, so I know that it is people in general who cannot be trusted. However, if I say anything, it will cause unnecessary conflict. Story 56. Well, what are we doing here, and why have you committed your life to someone who cannot be trusted? It sounds like it is your wife who cannot be trusted to make logically sound decisions. Do you have children? So, any boys? If not, are you planning to? Do not. Having a son whose mother will never trust or fully respect him will be a self-fulfilling prophecy she uses to validate her own shortcomings as a mother. Why are you married to someone who would say this once, let alone ever repeat it? Story 57. Ask her one simple question. If it applies to all men, does it apply to me as well? If she says no, then tell her it's not all men. If she says yes, then just leave the relationship because she will continue punishing you for things you have never done. Honestly, it sounds like you should have left a while ago, as she seems to have no care for your feelings or input. Story 58. She sounds like a nightmare. I would just break up with her. Getting upset by generalizations is always silly. Clearly, She trusts you in some ways. Otherwise, she would not be with you. Rather than getting upset that she does not trust other men and challenging her directly, ask, "Do you trust me?" If the answer is no, then that is the only reason you need to end this relationship. Frankly, in that case, it is already over. Story 59. Girlfriend says you cannot trust men. Original poster, here's the girlfriend saying this. Chooses to stay with this woman. My face when. Brother, use your head. Story 60. When you are done here, take this over to the subreddit called 2X chromosomes. I have a morbid curiosity and some time on my hands. Story 61. Brother, leave. She sounds like a clear misandrist who has no genuine empathy for your emotional well-being. Any woman who claims to have no trust for men will resent you on some level, regardless of whether you are her partner or considered one of the good ones. Leave. Story 62. Your girlfriend is sexist and therefore an idiot. You don't handle idiots. You leave them alone, far away from you. Story 63. End the relationship immediately. No man should remain connected to a woman who has issues with men. Story 64. My fiancé doesn't say things like that. Your girlfriend is a bigot. Plain and simple. Swap out the word man in "you're not like the other men," and "no man can be trusted." How does it sound with black people? What about gays? Women? End the relationship. Story 65. I would never stay with a woman who thinks that. I just had a very upsetting split from one of my best friends ever. I have known her since high school because she went through a dramatic breakup with a lot of accusations. Her now ex-girlfriend is someone we also became good friends with. She completely went no contact with him despite the friendship we all developed over the last few years. The mindset that he's a guy, he can't be trusted was thrown around. My friend had a kind of mean mindset of don't trust men because of some traumatic things that happened to her. However, I am really proud of her because she listened to me talk about the situation, and we came to the conclusion that it's not fair to just pick sides and assume the story. The thing is, he never told us not to talk to her, but she was trying to get us not to talk to him or his friends. Long story short, my girlfriend was on the side of, we can't trust him. He's a guy. So I would not be with her. In the end, we had to stop talking to her, but we are still friends with him. It is very telling to me that she wanted to stop us from talking to anyone in that group, but none of them felt the same about her. Story 66. I do not hear it because I do not let women who say such things into my life, especially not to the point where I interact with them regularly. Story 67. Usually comes from overweight women. No real woman would say this. Don't worry, a real woman will always respect muscularity. Story 68. When she starts talking about how she hates all men and cannot trust men, my partner in the past made a few comments veering into this territory. I eventually told her I was not okay with this, and I would leave if this was her belief. Story 69. End the relationship immediately. You need to ask yourself, she is argumentative and dislikes men now as a girlfriend. Do I want to spend the rest of my life dealing with this if married to her? Her statement about her intuition protecting her from her past, while acknowledging that you are different from other men, means she continuously punishes you for her past trauma. She carries all the baggage from her past into the relationship with you. These are clear warning signs for you to walk away immediately. Story 70. My wife can be very sexist. Fortunately for me, it is towards other women, not men. Feminists are illogical, aggressive, and entitled. Forget them. Actually, wait. Do not forget them. Story 71. That is a tricky situation. It sounds like her viewpoint is so deeply ingrained that no amount of reasoning will change her mind. If you truly love her and choose to be with her, your only option is to be the best man you can be. You can argue all you want, but there is no denying how you conduct yourself. In the end, she may drive you away. If that happens, she will have to make a choice. 1. She was right all along, and your leaving her only reinforces that. 2. Her opinion of men isolates her from good ones and leaves room to attract the wrong ones. Good men will not tolerate being antagonized forever. Story 72. She is smarter than that. I would never lose a day of my life with someone who thinks in absolutes. I did it once. It was a mistake. Story 73. Had a girl like that once. Emphasis on had. There is no point in being in a relationship where you have to be that careful about what you say. Also, she is clearly gaslighting you because she enjoys arguing to the point that you give up so she can be right. I met my wife 2 weeks after we broke up. There was a massive difference in how I was treated, and it astounded me that I even put up with the way she treated me. I will not tell you what to do, but it is a good idea to examine what you are actually getting from that relationship compared to what you put in. Story 74. Mine does not say things like that. I would not be with someone who hates men, to be honest. It is a very toxic personality trait that indicates a low level of self-awareness, reflection, and accountability. Story 75. She is a narcissist who cannot take responsibility for her actions. You will always be at fault, you will always be wrong, and you will always be the one who has to apologize. Coming from the mental health field, I think you both should be evaluated. She might be slightly on the autism spectrum, and you might have anger management issues. Story 76. Is this the only woman on the planet? Why are you dating someone who clearly dislikes you? With her attitude, you are just someone she uses without respect. She does not respect you as a human being. Story 77. I heard that from a feminist friend once. I asked her if she did not trust me at all then. She backpedaled. I told her that categorizations seem to have quite a few flaws. I am fed up with putting femicide claims down to masculinity instead of some individuals with loose screws who have lost all humanity by killing people. Story 78. That is not something a spouse says, and it is hardly ever said by practical human beings. Story 79. I ended up divorced over something very similar to this. We definitely had other issues, but after 22 years, she went off the deep end with men are trash talk and the idea that all men cannot be trusted. As much as it hurt to hear, I watched our 3 sons, who I am very proud to say have grown into great men, deal with hearing their mother say such things. Story 80. Because if it is, then I really can't help but think that women are the problem with this whole gender divide issue. Women are absolutely the primary cause of the gender divide and conflict. Some men can be bad, but most women exhibit hostility toward men. Basic examples include still expecting men to make the first move and the lack of initiating sexual activity. How do you handle hearing that no man can be trusted by your partner? You either accept that she is never going to change, or you break up and make it clear that you cannot be with someone who is so hostile toward men and who gaslights you so much. Story 81. You cannot stay with a woman like that for the rest of your life. You owe it not just to yourself as a man but to all your male friends and family members. Can you really love your girlfriend if you know deep down inside she has this hatred for all men? That includes your father, brother, grandfather, uncles, and others. So you are just going to be calm when you are at a family gathering and not think about how she hates your family? Story 82. If my partner said that, she would be out the door before she could blink. Let's see how long the mentality lasts after that. Story 83. If someone does not give you space to express your opinions and does not want to hear them, that qualifies as abusive behavior. My wife would never do that or speak about men that way. She even corrects other women when they adopt an extremist point of view. It sounds to me like there is no benefit in continuing that relationship. Story 84. Yes, how she thinks is hurting your relationship. The root cause and subsequent experiences solidifying that thinking are the problem. It is a bit of an oxymoron. She does not have to trust a man if her intuition protects her, but that was in the past. I wonder what triggered her. Story 85. Your girlfriend sounds toxic. Although she is obviously scarred by past trauma, you cannot help her if she does not want help. If her reaction to you being hurt is to name 5 times, then she is just being rude. Your friend sounds unpleasant. Men who give advice like that are really revealing the type of women they date. If all the women he dates do not want to hear what he says, then what is he saying? Obviously, it is something inappropriate if every woman wants nothing to do with it. Find someone who listens to you and understands your viewpoint. You will be miserable all your life otherwise. Story 86. Leave her. She is not done growing. She will probably turn it on you and say that this is why she cannot trust men. But honestly, you cannot trust her if she continues like this. She needs to learn accountability, not out of malice, but to understand that her actions are pushing you away and nothing else. I will tell you this only once. You cannot change her. She needs to be ready to accept that her point of view causes tensions to rise, and it is very possible she will never change. Your leaving will not make it worse for her. She will be making it worse for herself, until she realizes that she is her own worst enemy. Do not say a word, do not argue, walk away quietly, and do not give her the chance to turn it on you. She will strike when you are weak and feeling bad for leaving. Cut contact. Be quick. Be clean. Do not fight. Do not give in. Just walk away completely. Story 87. People can be pragmatic and logical about false assumptions, about lies, about anything. It seems you are discovering that the worldview of liberalism is based on falsehoods, and that the only way the liberal atheist stays in power is by giving women special privileges in society, which they constantly abuse. They cannot help but abuse it. Look at relationships between men, where we fall into hierarchies and learn to work together or risk catastrophic physical violence. Women do not have this. They have no incentive and no consequence motivating them to work together with each other and with the opposite sex. Instead, they try to manipulate others to their own will. Liberal atheism teaches them to do this to all men in order to maintain their societal favor. This is all caused by Marxist identity politics or critical theory, which liberals use to undermine cooperation and the family to secure the votes of women. Just look at the lies they teach women. That they are equal in all ways to men. That somehow they are as strong and powerful as portrayed in certain Hollywood movies. That they are so important they should be able to terminate a pregnancy without the father's consent. That the progressive tax system must flow money into women's issues while neglecting men. That society must trust these claims despite contrary evidence. If I had $1 for every man betrayed by a woman for financial reasons, I personally lost 20 years of my life, my education, and a massive amount of finances due to paternity fraud, which her mother and friends seem to encourage. It is liberal atheist societies that practice gender Marxism. Women are all married to the state, even if you have already wed them. Men must stop undermining themselves. Wake up and realize this is the result of the liberal religious worldview that rose to power at the French Revolution. The obvious conclusion is that to keep power, they impose totalitarianism. That is what equity is, communist totalitarianism. That is what fascism is, when you are told to do the right thing for the state or the economy. That is what National Socialism is, when different treatment is prescribed based on race or ethnicity, as seen with the pride flag. These are all totalitarian religious dominations of secular liberalism. They have used each of them in the West to maintain power as the West falls apart from financial and political abuses. They use various forms of totalitarianism to remain in power. Liberals, what can you do about it? Come to the realization that the only approval you need is from a God who wants what is true and good for you. Stop compromising good values for women who are little more than prostitutes for the state. You need to realize you have been conditioned to be treated this way in order to be controlled. My advice is to speak with some Orthodox Catholics, learn about virtue, the ideological foundations of the liberal worldview, and the foundations of atheism, and how both always require totalitarianism to stay in power, and begin repairing your twisted understanding of the world. Story 88. Just leave. Seems simple, doesn't it? I would never stay with a person who hated me in any way, especially in a discriminatory way. If you were a woman, would you be okay staying in a relationship with a misogynist? Or if you were black and your partner wore a Ku Klux Klan hood? Come on. Story 89. If you stay with her, she is going to wear down your mental health. I was with someone like that, and a week after ending things with her, I noticed my mental health improving. There are many wonderful women who do not have these kinds of views, and I think you can do better. Story 90. I trust my husband completely. We have been together for 26 years. He has never given me a reason not to trust him. Additionally, I do not have time to worry about what he is doing on a daily basis without me. Story 91. You will never have a good relationship with a hardline feminist. She will always trust the women over her spouse, and the women love keeping each other single and miserable. I applaud your efforts to try to reason with her, but she has been taught to hate men from childhood. You are going to be fighting this battle every time she does not feel good. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.